you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. I am Gene Murphy, and my co-host Pierre McGuire is joining us here. We can't see his handsome face today because he is in the airport getting ready to head over to Belfast right now, but he still took the time to join us. Pierre, how you doing, my friend?
Doing fantastic, Jimmy. Thanks a lot. I hope you're doing well.
I am as well. A great weekend of hockey, Pierre, and we'll get into a lot of stuff in a second. But just want to tell our listeners and viewers we will shortly be joined by the wonderful Drew Remenda, the color analyst for the San Jose Sharks, to talk about their. I mean, it's for them, it's a good start, Pierre, the San Jose Sharks. They've been one of the better stories so far in this young season. And, of course, Macklin Celebrini has just been lighting it up. He was just, in the last few hours, named the NHL Star of the Week. So we'll get to that and all things Sharks with Drew in a bit. But, Pierre, I don't mean to damper the show right off the bat, but I want to go to Calgary last night, where the New York Rangers were humiliated by a team that many consider could be out of the playoff race by American Thanksgiving, and that's the Calgary Flames beating the Rangers 5-1. We tried to caution people in the offseason, and as this season got underway, Pierre, that there was still something wrong with this Rangers team, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
They didn't do enough shopping in the offseason. That's what we talked about. And they thought they had cleansed the room last year when they traded Jacob Trouba, which we said wasn't true. They tried to cleanse the room when they moved Chris Kreider along. That wasn't true. They tried to cleanse the room when they moved Keandre Miller. That clearly hasn't been true. And so they haven't shopped nearly enough. I know they added Gavrikov in the offseason, and I know they added Scotty Morrow, who's a good young player out of UMass Amherst and a kid that has a lot of local ties because he played for Mid-Fairfield up in Darien, Connecticut. But the truth is the Rangers haven't grown their brand at all in the offseason, and it's a big problem for them. You can see it defensively. They haven't competed hard enough. Offensively, they're not nearly good enough. Zibanejad and Panarin aren't playing it to the levels they need them to play to. And you can say, yeah, we got the best coaching staff in the league with Dave Quinn and Dave Sacco and Michael Sullivan. But the truth is that, you know, those guys have all, in the last little while, haven't exactly hit it out of the park either as a coaching staff. You know, Mike hasn't been in the playoffs the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. David wasn't in the playoffs, whether he's in New York or whether he's in San Jose. And yeah. For Joe, you know, Joe Sacco's, I think I said Dave Sacco's brother, Joe Sacco.
Yep.
He's a really good, they're all really good hockey coaches, but if you look at their recent time in the league, they haven't been hitting it out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, right now as we speak here on Monday, October 27th, the New York Rangers are sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference at 3-5-2 with 8 points. They're in a four-way tie for the worst record in the East there with the Bruins, Lightning, and Jackets. But, you know, this is a team, you bring up the moves they made, shipping some guys out and kind of saying, okay, now we've got the right makeup and we'll be all right. And then another one they make too, you referenced Mike Sullivan there, but it's almost like they were thinking, okay, maybe Peter Laviolette was the issue here. And I think if you look at this start to this season, it's pretty clear he might have been part of it, but he was not the main part of it. They have still not figured out whether it's on or off the ice or both. What is this cloud that's hanging over this team? Like, I look at this quote from JT Miller, and we know what a competitor JT Miller is. Sometimes a little too much, as we've heard many times before. But you look at this quote from him after the game last night. You just can't be okay with coming out flat. We're in no position to come out flat. Be in the right mindset. We're ready to go. We got outplayed again in the first period. It kind of set the tone. I thought we had a good second period. A couple mistakes hurt us. But other than that, the second period was good. A good third. But obviously, we're not getting a ton of bounces offensively, which is more of a reason. There's no excuses to come out flat like this. It sucks. This is not fun right now. We need to correct the starts. I think it's becoming like the trend now. So we need to fix this on this trip. It's a hard trip. We got to be ready to go at the start of the game. Pierre, this just sounds like a broken record from last year, and JT Miller wasn't there for half the year to say that broken record after a game. So this is what I'm trying to say. It's the same thing we saw at this time last year and throughout the season. And I'm with you. I don't think that management did a good enough job to pinpoint exactly what this problem is.
they pointed a lot of fingers and said a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and they leaked a lot of damaging intel,
Yeah.
which hurt some people, but they haven't addressed the issues with the team. They're overrated defensively. They didn't grow the brand of any of their defensemen internally last year, so Keandre Miller's got to be the odd man out in their eyes. And they're going to blame Phil Housley and Peter Laviolette for that. That's nonsense. Braden Schneider didn't get better at all last year. Took a step back. Adam Fox probably had his worst year ever in the National Hockey League last year. So they can point fingers all they want. There's a lot going on there. They had a very difficult negotiation with their goaltender, and that, I think, created some issues. $12 million salary. I think that created some issues. And then they pointed fingers at the coaches. And whether you want to point fingers at Laviolette, if you want to point fingers at Housley, you want to point fingers at Michael Pekka. I know a year before that, they were all raving about how Pekka had done such a great job with all their face-off stuff. Now he's in Chicago, and it looks like their team's starting to surge. So I don't know what goes on in the Ranger land. I don't, because I don't talk to anybody in their upper management. But something's not right there, and I don't know how much longer they can go with this being wrong. I mean, JT Miller's spot on. They're going to Vancouver next. He's going to be, I think, it's not going to be very friendly towards him. Then they go back to Edmonton. Then they go over to Seattle. Like, look at that trip. In Alberta, in BC, back to Alberta, down to Washington to play in Seattle. That's a hard trip, Jimmy. That's a really hard trip.
Yep. And we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, Pierre, but I mean, like, as we've said so many times on here, we're now going into November, and American Thanksgiving will be here before we know it. And if they can't take at least half the points left on this trip, you don't know where this team might be headed. And Pierre, we don't script this stuff, but it's great because the next thing I was going to bring up was Michael Pekka. I was going to mention him if you didn't. And I don't know if you're aware, but I'm sure you are because you look at the stats and everything every day. But for our listeners and viewers out there, who would have thought that the Chicago Blackhawks would be the 5th best defensive team in the NHL after 1 month? I mean, that's amazing. And Michael Pekka is a big reason for that.
Yeah, he is, but I also think that Josh will deserve some credit. And got hired a couple former, which is ridiculous. Those guys should be ashamed of themselves. Jeff's a really good hockey coach, whether it was in the American Hockey League, college hockey, the USHL, or even in Detroit, where he's given one of the worst rosters you could ever imagine. He never embarrassed the organization there. He never embarrassed the organization in Tampa, and he won't embarrass Chicago. Chicago's done a nice job. We talked about how they've really done a good job identifying goaltending. Getting Spencer Knight was huge. Their defense is big, it's mobile, and it's getting tougher all the time, which is great. And they've got a very good team down in Rockford right now. Oliver Moore's had a tremendous start to the year, one of the really bright young forwards, offensively gifted forwards in the American Hockey League. Obviously everybody sees what Frankie Nazar's doing right now. There's a lot to really like about Chicago. Do I think they're a playoff team this year? No, but this is going to stimulate that audience in Chicago, Jimmy, and this is what the league needs. This is great news for the NHL, getting a really strong, vibrant, original 6 team in Chicago. I was part of the league when from 2010 to 2016, I know they didn't win in 16, but from 2010 to 16, I'm telling you, that Chicago thing stimulated so many fans around the world, not just in Illinois, but around the world.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that, Pierre. And look, another team I want to mention, Pierre, they've been playing better as of late. I was kind of hard on them to start the season, and I still don't know where they're going to end up. But the LA Kings are playing better hockey right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been impressed.
No, they're better. Yeah, no, they're better. Getting Kopitar back helped them a lot. They're better. I still think there's some flaws in their group, but I think Kenny Holland will address that. He'll be as proactive as possible. But no, they've definitely getting Yonsei back really helps them a lot. I'm looking forward to see how they do because that Anaheim team that you and I like so much, they just keep knocking on the door. And that San Jose group that we're going to talk about a little later with Drew, they're doing some really nice things too. So after a terrible start, I'm excited for the California's going to be hard again to go to. It used to be real easy. Now you go in there, it's not that easy anymore.
The California Triangle. And Pierre, quickly in the West, another team I want to mention before we get to Drew, and another team that I was confused by, and I think we both agreed, what is their identity? And that's the Seattle Kraken. I still don't exactly know what it is, but what I do know is they're playing some of the parts type hockey. They're playing as a team. They went through a grueling 12-game road trip to start the season, and they're doing all right, and they're in playoff contention. So, credit to them, credit to Lane Lambert, and for the team to buying in. They played a lot better than I expected they will.
They're playing hard. They made my Western play. I just Barry Trotz, and all the years I either saw Barry coach in the American Hockey League or coach in the NHL. There's a lot to like about the way Barry coached, and I think Lane Lambert, who's one of his disciples, is doing a tremendous job to start there. They're not overwhelmed with star power. They haven't had Jared McCann for a little while. They're still finding ways to win. The defense is patchwork. They're trying to make it better. I think internally, eventually they will, but they deserve a lot of credit. They're a hard out. They're tough to play against, and they deserve credit. I think probably the biggest untold story in the league right now is in two cities. One would be Pittsburgh, who are thriving right now, and the other one would be in Utah. Those two stories are mammoth. No pun intended, Jimmy.
Oh, come on, pun intended. Pun intended.
Great. Really good stories, both of them.
I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll get to Utah in a bit, and I'm trying to secure a Utah guest actually for us this week. But you bring up Pittsburgh there, and I was kind of gonna ask you about this in terms of Chicago and San Jose. All right, Pittsburgh's off to a surprisingly great start, and leading the way, of course, is Sidney Crosby and Malkin. At the same time, though, Pierre, how important is it for them to maintain the big picture point of view and not get caught up in the big start? I'm not saying you don't keep trying and you don't keep trying to win, but how important is it for Kyle Dubas? Look, let's say they're still in it come New Year's, right? And they're still in within striking range of a playoff shot or in the playoffs. Kyle Dubas cannot go out and make a deal for this year, in my opinion, Pierre. He needs to just maintain the path and keep going with the rebuild. Do you disagree or you agree?
No, I agree with most of it. I wouldn't say he can't make a deal. Their American League team in Wilkes-Barre is first in their division and off to an amazing start. Miroshov, the goaltender, is a perfect record in the American Hockey League so far. They've got great young depth down at the Tristan Braz is off to an awesome start. Where I think that Pittsburgh's doing a smart thing is Harrison Brunick and also Ben Kindle. They've got them on the same program that Leo Carlson was on when he broke in Anaheim, and we raved about that load management. So I'm just telling you, I think, as questioning as a lot of people were about Pittsburgh, I've heard nothing but great things about training camp. I've heard nothing about great things about the relationship between the coaching staff and the players. And the players seem to be getting better there. And look, and I'll give you an example. Anthony Mantha, a lot of people thought gross underachiever, won't do anything. Justin Brazeau, big body, can't move. Malkin hasn't played a playoff game in 3 years, and it looks like his play's declining. Put those three guys together as a line, and they're shredding the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to watch it. And I think Dan Muse, the coach there, deserves a lot of credit. Jimmy, I do all their pregame shows with the great Paul Steigerwald, and he's really good at his job. And I watch all their games, and I'm like, wow, these guys are knocking it out of the park right now. It doesn't mean it's going to last all year, but right now it's great. And you can see, we talked last year about Anthony Stolarz being this unbelievable acquisition by Toronto.
Yes.
You can make the argument that Artur Shilovs is the Anthony Stolarz of this season. You can make that argument. That guy's played unbelievably well in goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I agree. All right. Well, maybe we'll get into some more Penguins later in our Q&A, but let's switch gears over to the San Jose Sharks right now, who are one of the most exciting teams in the NHL and led by a player that Pierre McGuire was telling us about long before he got to the NHL, and that's Macklin Celebrini. And on to talk about Celebrini and the Sharks is our good friend Drew Remenda right now. Drew, how are you, my friend?
Good, gents. How you doing? And Pierre, you're absolutely right about that Brazeau, Malkin, Mantha line, they shredded us at the game that they played there. They were so dominant in that game. Got a goal off that line, and it's the second goal. They are very, very, very good. So, but anyway, I'm good. How are you, boys?
We're good. We're good. I just
We're
want to
good. And by the
know.
way, Drew,
Oh, okay.
Drew, hey Jimmy, just let me talk to Drew for a second. We're
Yeah.
longtime compadres, Drew
Oh,
and
no
I.
worries.
And I just want to say one thing, Drew. The only reason I'm not on camera, they can't have two follically impaired people on at the same time.
I like to think. I think we're not. We're evolutionary, actually trendsetters. When you look at this, go back in history and you look at cavemen, they were hairy all over. And as we evolved as a species, we developed less and less hair. And really, there is no need for hair up on top of our heads. It serves no purpose besides the superfluous looks. So that's what I'm trying to convince myself of for the last now 40 years of my life. I'm trying to convince myself that I'm actually evolving quicker than anybody else.
Jimmy, you know what's amazing about Drew? He might be the wisest Saskatchewan human I know.
Oh, yes. There you go.
No, my wife's sitting next to me. She's the smartest Saskatchewan person that there is.
There you go.
Drew, my opening question to you is,
Yeah.
are Wasowski's children okay? They're not up for adoption or anything? We're going to be okay there?
Well, it sounded like he had to answer to it when he got home.
That's
Because my question would have been, okay, which one? And listen, I don't care what you say. I've got 3 wonderful children, but I know which one I'd pick. So, so I'm just saying. But you know what, like guys, it shows you really. And Pierre, you've been there. I've been there. You won a hell of a lot more games than I did as a coach. But how much pressure gets on you as a coach that in order to win. Like the Sharks lost the last 11 games last year and then lost the first 6 this year. And you're starting to feel it. You're a young coach, and Ryan's a very emotional guy. And he got fined last year for an emotional outburst on the bench, and he really got a hold of that. And he was really careful after on the bench, and he's really careful what he was saying to the press. And then he had that honest moment where you feel that pressure.
Mhm.
So I thought the comment was funny, but it didn't sound like it went over very well when he got home.
Pierre?
Drew knows this as well or better than anybody because he was there at the beginning with the Sharks, and I was coaching in Pittsburgh. We had a wagon, they didn't. And we were Scotty, or whether it was Scotty Bowman or Bob Johnson, we had so much respect for what they were doing in San Jose with Jack Ferrara and Dean Lombardi at the time and the coaching staff they'd assembled. Drew was part of that. But I can tell you, like, I went from that to trying to rebuild a team in Hartford. And just to Drew's point, I don't think people realize how hard it is to coach when you have a mediocre to poor roster. That's number one. But number two, the easiest thing to do in the NHL is to coach a winning team. It's the easiest thing. The hardest thing to do is to coach a team out of a losing streak. And Drew nailed it. I'm telling you, Jimmy, he nailed it. They lost 11 in a row last year to finish the season.
Yeah.
How do you think that felt when they started this year with this record? It's unbelievably painful. Painful.
Yeah, that's the right word for it.
Yep, for sure. True. I mean, obviously everybody's talking about Celebrini right now, and rightfully so. But just in terms of the overall picture with the youth movement there, what has been what have you seen develop in terms of what are you noticing getting better every game or every practice? Is there something that stands out to you?
Well, I'll just say this, Jimmy, the last 12 goals the Sharks have scored, a teenager has been involved in all of them, which says, I think, a lot about the drafting that McGuire and his hockey ops guys have done, the scouting staff has done. It shows you, and of course, it's a very early, short sample size or small sample size, but it shows you that we're on the right track. The other thing, guys, and it amazes me, and maybe it's because I've gotten older. I started in this league when I was 29, and I was the same age as the players. But now these kids come in, and first off, they're so damn young. 18 years old, 19 years old, but they don't miss a beat. They're very confident, composed young men. They get out early and they absorb the information. They're paying attention to details. They stay out late and work on stuff. Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith, and I know it's a cliche thing to say, but they are literally first guys on, last guys off. Well, Macklin's last guy off. Will comes off a little earlier than Macklin chirps him the whole time after in the dressing room. But they work on their skills. They are investing in their careers. I'm watching Misa and I'm watching Dickinson. And when I have time, when the schedule allows, I also broadcast the CUDA games with the great Nick Nollenberger from the San Jose Barracuda. And that gives you really great insight into how they're developing with the CUDA. It's great because the rink is attached to the Sharks practice rink, and they've got a great fan base. But you see how these young guys play and what they're learning and how skilled they are. And I'm looking at them going, I can't believe how skilled these kids are. They don't miss a beat. Sam Dickinson, Michael Misa. You look at we don't even talk about William Macklin anymore because he's an old guy at 23. It's amazing to watch. You watch Colin Graff has been fantastic this year. So I'm seeing, of course, Macklin's the story, right? Will's the story. But when you look at the other guys, the supporting cast that's coming around, and talking about building a club up, and the rebuild is the tear down is over, the rebuild has begun, and now you're getting some really strong foundational young players in that you can project ahead that we always do with fantasy wise. When we're going to be back to being really good, those guys are going to be really important aspects.
Hey, Drew, 2 questions for that because I really like the way you phrase that. One, are the fans starting to come back? And the second question is, I like that you talk about Dickinson on the back end, but I look at the birth certificates, a lot of those defensemen, and they're not getting any younger. And you know what I'm talking about with Nick Leddy and Orloff in particular. And so I just wonder, is there enough internally for the depth to continue on the defense, and are the fans starting to buy in?
The fans are starting to come back. They're starting to get really excited. Randy Hahn, my great play-by-play partner.
Awesome guy, awesome
yeah,
person.
Awesome person. Still one of the best goal calls in the National Hockey League. He coined a phrase last year just off the cuff as we were having another one of the third periods that we had last season, and he said, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the most exciting last place team in the National Hockey League. And that the fans caught on to that, and they have been. The Sharks are exciting. And we just don't want to say last place anymore. The way that the fans are, I think they've grasped onto Macklin and Will. They've grasped onto Yaroslav Askarov. They've grasped onto the team in which Mike Greer is building. They understand, thanks to our owner, Hasso Plattner. He has been very understanding, very patient, and very generous with the team. And the fans have said, okay, this is what we're in now. We're rebuilding, and boy, we are, the fans thinking, we're a very exciting team. And on the back end, as far as the youth movement, we have, it's still a work in progress, no doubt about it. But Shakir Moukmadoulin's another guy I should be talking about. Got him in the Timo Meier trade. He's the real deal as far as a 200-foot defenseman, big, rangy guy. And I like his game a lot. And he really developed over the summer and had a really good training camp. His big thing is he's 6'4" and he's as heavy as I am, and he needs to try to add on some muscle and try to stay healthy. But they do have some good young talent in the Barracuda that are young, but that's where, Pierre, you're absolutely right. That's where the scouting staff is really looking to bring in young players in that defense position to be able to build up. The forwards are getting there without a doubt because you still got Musty and you still got some other guys that you can talk about. But overall, defensively, they're still trying to do that. But I like the move bringing in, I don't know what you guys think, but bringing in Klingberg, bringing in Leddy, bringing in Orloff, bringing in veteran defensemen to help the young guys, not only on defense, but in the room. You're bringing in some guys who have won cups, some guys who are character guys, just like, Barclay Goodrow and Ryan Reeves and Tyler Toffoli, bringing in those guys to help build a culture back in San Jose.
Oh, I love what you're saying because we did this in Pittsburgh. We brought in Peter Taglianetti. We
Yes.
brought in Gordy Roberts. We brought in Larry Murphy. We brought in Grant Jennings, Michelle Samuelson. We brought in all these older guys so that Paul Stanton and Jimmy Pack could be part of our six. And we brought in older guys to teach them, and your spot, you couldn't be more right. You couldn't be more right. It's funny. You talk about Ryan Reeves, and I know you had a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
The fight that he had in New York the other night is I think one for the ages, and he still got that in him, doesn't he, Drew?
And he's got 2 goals too. I mean, all he came in was looking for a chance.
Yep.
And during that game, during the warm up, Ryan, because he played in New York, he was talking to somebody, I can't remember who it was, just before the warm up. And then Reppy came over, and as Ryan was skating away, said something to him. Ryan said something back, and then Ryan had the hit, and then the fight.
Yep.
But Ryan Reeves is, when we got to New York, he made we went a day early, and he took all the players to see the Book of Mormon. Okay, they had a bus, they got right on the plane, and bang, they went to the Book of Mormon.
Wow.
And then they've done a few other team building things, and I actually interviewed him on the ice last night, that the bench interview, and you know how those ones go, guys. Usually, we just want to get the puck deep, and Lord willing, we'll be coming out on top and all that stuff. Ryan Reeves was great. I asked him, I said, "You've come in here and you act like you've been here for years, and you're bringing the chemistry into the room." And I asked, "Why is culture important?" And he gave one of the best, most intelligent answers I've heard. But he said, "Your team can't be great. A team can't win unless you love each other and play for each other." And I was blown away by it. I love the guy. But the best, I'll tell you a quick story at Media Day, because Ryan Reeves played for Vegas Golden Knights, and he's, Ryan Reeves is Ryan Reeves in the National Hockey League. And Media Day, Randy Hahn hadn't met him. I had met him once before, but Randy walks over to him and goes, "Hi, Ryan. I'm Randy Hahn. I'm the play-by-play guy for the San Jose Sharks. I'm not saying we hated you when you played for other teams. It was just showbiz, right?" And Ryan goes, "Oh, we're going to start our relationship off in a lie, are we? Okay, fine. That's the way it's going to be." So,
well, hey, Drew, as well as anybody, the dirty little secret in the league right now is the San Jose Vegas thing. There's just no love there. It's amazing how that thing has grown in such a short period of time.
Exactly.
Good stuff, Drew. Before we let you go, I want to go back to the OT winner against the Wild there for Celebrini, right? And we're gonna play the clip now.
Okay.
We can't obviously for copyright, we can't show it, but we'll play the clip right now. And then I just want to tell you something I noticed before he scored it. All right, go ahead.
Here comes the Wild, 3-on-2, Faber, saved by Askarov, and a chance now for Macklin Celebrini. Celebrini in, scores! What a goal! What a win! Sharks win it in overtime. Wow! I've never seen an overtime like it.
No. It was amazing, right? And Minnesota dominated the whole time. That was their first break. But what I know is, like, when I see Celebrini last year versus this, and Pierre, you can chime in here too if you want. Last year, he would always be looking for that, to have that opportunity right away, right? I didn't see that as much as I'm watching him kill that penalty. He's out there. He's more worried about killing the penalty, and then the opportunity presented itself. Of course, he's going to take it. But have you noticed him being more focused defensively than last season?
He's always had that 200-foot mentality but I think even, Jimmy, when you look at it, what we noticed about him, he's always trying to make the play. Okay, he's trying to make the big play.
That's what I'm getting at.
And it cost the Sharks this year against it was Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It was Vegas? No, sorry, I think it was Anaheim. It was Anaheim. Okay. And he tries to make a move, or one of the games we were in overtime, tries to make a move in overtime, and instead of just regrouping the puck, he tries to make a move and it goes the other way and they end up scoring in overtime. He has now become more in tune, and you don't have to tell him twice, this kid. You don't have to tell him at all. He's become more in tune of live to fight another day. Make a play that helps the team instead of making the big play. But on this one, it was so wild. It looks like this is the longest The Sharks are researching it right now. But since they've kept track of shift length, the longest a group of players have been on the ice in overtime.
Wow.
340 for Wenberg, 340 for Liljegren, and 335 for Eklund. Now, Eklund, it was a gamble, right? He saw the change happening, and so Eklund decided, I'm going to go. Apparently, the bench was yelling at him. Apparently, Macklin was yelling at him to come off. So he made the sprint. Macklin hustles back. Askarov makes that save, which was key because Faber had that chance. And then what blew me away, guys, was when Macklin comes in and spins and grabs the puck. Faber's not a slow skater.
No.
It wasn't even close.
Just.
But, guys, I don't know. Probably a little longer than you want. I want to ask you, I believe in the clutch gene in athletes. I think there are certain athletes that have the clutch gene, and Macklin has it. Like, what do you guys think?
Well, I'm gonna back you up on that because
Okay.
I've been saying, and Jimmy knows that I think Macklin Celebrini is Jonathan Taves with more offense. That's an amazing player. Jonathan Taves was one of the clutch performers from 2006 to probably 2017 of any player that was in the National Hockey League. Go watch his World Junior performance in Vancouver in 06. Watch his World Junior performance in 07 in Leksand, Sweden. Watch his Olympic performance and Stanley Cup performance in 2010. Watch his Stanley Cup performance in 2013. Watch his Stanley Cup performance in 2015. Okay, and I'm backing my boy Drew Remenda up here. Macklin Celebrini has the clutch gene that he's alluding to. Jonathan Taves had the very same thing. And here's the only difference. And I'd say this, if Jonathan was on with us right now, and he's one of my boys, he did not have the same pure offense that Macklin has. He did not.
Yeah, Macklin's got that for sure.
Wow. Good stuff. Well, listen, hey, we appreciate you taking the time, Drew. Always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy the season, all right?
Thanks, guys. Anytime. Great talking to you, Pierre.
See you later, my friend. Take care,
Hey, buddy.
All right. Drew Remenda joining us here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. I know Pierre's a little pressed for time. We're going to do the sponsors right now, Pierre, and we'll get right into the Q&A. And if you got to go, you just let us know. Okay?
Yep.
All right. As always, we want to remind you of our wonderful new sponsor we have on board this year. We're psyched to have him, and I'm psyched to go there in November and meet up with Pierre and his mom. And that is Vago Italian. They combine old world classics and new Italian dishes for over 23 years. Private dining rooms for any occasion. Open Monday to Sunday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They are located at 1336 Green Avenue in Westmount. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that is 514-846-1414. All right, and of course, our wonderful sponsors over at Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway and Bet the Beauties. And they've got a new deal going. It used to be $200, but now it's $300. You go right now, if you're a new member, if you use that QR code right in front of you, or you go to the website and you go to the membership section and fill out your membership form and become a member, you can get up to $300 back on your first deposit. That's right, $300 back on your first deposit, even if you lose your first bet. So go there right now, sign up. You must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. You must always bet responsibly, and the offer is not available in Ontario right now. Here's my pick for tonight. It's a two-prong pick, a two-team parlay. All right, I'm going to go first. They have the first game at 7 o'clock. Pittsburgh Penguins hosting the St. Louis Blues. Give me the Blues to score the first goal, to lead in the first period. I had it, I changed it. To lead in the first period, the puck line, first period puck line Blues, plus 165. And then in the second game tonight, there's only two games. The Ottawa Senators, Boston Bruins, that is the Amazon Prime game tonight. Give me the Bruins as heavy underdogs at plus 165. That's a two-team parlay right there. Let's get to our Q&A. What do we got? All right, Simo Hockey Train. Oh, look, the names are back to normal again. None of those crazy numbers at the end. Simo says, Pierre, how did the Oilers improve and get back on track?
They develop a defensive conscience with their forwards helping their defensemen. They get stabilized on the back end. They stop poaching for points, and they play as a group. This team needs to find an identity of how to play team-oriented hockey for whatever reason, they're not right now, and it's a big problem for them.
I agree. All right, next question. NY Mets, New York Mets, number one. Who's going to be looking for a new head coach first, the Leafs or the Rangers? Let's go Devils.
Yeah, I don't like to speculate on coaches losing their jobs. I don't like what's going on with the Rangers right now. I'm sure the Rangers don't like what's going on there either. I'm not blaming Mike Sullivan for any of this, but we're starting to see a lot of the same stuff that started to manifest itself last year. People were ready to fire Lindy Ruff after the first 4 games of the year in Buffalo. Now they want to anoint him as the governor of the state of New York because he's coaching so well. So, you got to be careful of overreacting. I hope every coach keeps his job this year, but obviously every year there are changes. I'd like to see that now become more changes with management groups that aren't doing a good job giving their coaches good enough players. Jimmy and I have talked about that for over 3 years. I think there are a lot of guys that have been very, very fortunate that there was COVID and their ownerships didn't hold them accountable. I think there have been some really shoddy jobs done in the league by certain management groups, and they're very lucky that they've got patient owners because they haven't been that patient with the coaches.
Yeah, and I just chime in there quickly too. And with Sullivan, just remember he just got there, signed a long-term contract, one of if not the richest in the league. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But to echo what Pierre said, I agree on the management. But Pierre, I also think, and we've seen it, more teams need to start to hold the players accountable more. And I wonder, Pierre, with the increased salary cap and the ability to maybe orchestrate more trades, more player for player trades, will we see management identify, okay, this guy's just not mixing in with us for whatever reason. Let's find somebody else who can come in and do like a 1-for-1 swap. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Narragansett 141. Hi, guys. What's the plan with Arbor Jack guy? All mental mistakes and inconsistent play. If it were me, I'd consider him as team's 7th man, but also work with him on the wing to be a 13th forward. Thoughts?
Well, here's what I'm very comfortable telling you. If it's not for an injury to Caden Gooley, Arbor Jack guy wouldn't be playing every night for Montreal right now. He's got to stay out of the penalty box. He's got to be more consistent with his puck-moving decisions deep in his own zone. He's got to do a better job eliminating people in the defensive crease area. But Arbor's an important part of this group. He's just got to refine his game, and I'm pretty sure he eventually will. I think Struble deserves a lot of credit. Overcoming the loss of Gooley's been pretty difficult. But one of the things that's happened in Montreal, Mike Matheson has gone to a whole other level because he's no longer playing on a power play, and it's made him one of the better shutdown guys in the league right now.
Mm-hmm. I think actually somebody was commenting about Matheson in the comments section there. Maybe we'll pull it up in a bit. Yeah, it was at PH_1046. Matheson has. Could you pull that up, Shane, if you find? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. At PH_1046 says Matheson has looked so good. Do you think he has any chance at Team Canada this winter, Pierre?
No, I don't.
Wouldn't think
but that doesn't matter. I mean, the truth of the matter is Michael's playing great and he's playing for a contract. His contract's up at the end of this year. I've been saying, and Jimmy, for a long time, Michael should not be on the power play because of the role he has to play shutting people down. He can play 25 to 28 minutes a game if he doesn't have to play on the power play, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's been so efficient. Yeah, everybody has stumbles and bumbles, but he's been so efficient and so smart over let's say the first 6 or 7 games of the season. I'm really happy for him, and I'm thrilled to death for the Canadiens and their fan base. They need a player like Michael, and he's thriving right now.
All right, next question. Chris TV Gaming. Pierre, can you please give us your thoughts on the 4 new members of the Pittsburgh Penguins Hall of Fame? Scotty Bowman, Kevin Stevens, Eddie Johnston, and Ron Francis. Any fun stories with any of them?
Oh, I got tons of fun stories as well. And Scotty was my roommate, and we had a lot of fun together all over the place over the course of my career with him. We were fortunate to win 2 cups together. Eddie Johnston, one night we were playing Pittsburgh when I was head coach of Hartford, and he was head coach of Pittsburgh, and I caught Jaromir Jagr with an illegal stick with 3 seconds left in regulation because I knew he had one. And Eddie got really mad at me and wanted to come over to the glass and fight with me. And I'd known Eddie a long time. I'm like, not tonight, young man. He had a little bit of age on me. And so that was Eddie's. Getting Ronnie in a trade. Obviously, Craig Patrick worked some magic there. And there's a big trade that brought Alfie Samuelson, Ronnie Francis, and Grant Jennings to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh traded Johnny Cullen, who's a very good friend, and the late Zarley Zalapsky, and a player by the name of Jeff Parker. And there was a general manager in the NHL who actually said publicly that Hartford won the trade because they got Jeff Parker. Not kidding. And eventually that proved to be false because Jeff never played a game for the Hartford Whalers. He was a great player at Michigan State, though. He really was. He was a great player. And then, with Kevin, I can't say enough good things about Kevin. I think Jimmy knows I got a soft spot in my heart for Kevin. I ran the practices for the Penguins in the 91-92 season, and Kevin was so competitive and such a force. And as a young coach in the league, he made everything so easy. And I just loved all the time that I had a chance to spend around Kevin Stevens. Can't say enough good things about him.
All right, next question. Juice, what's going on with Minnesota Wild? Should they be concerned, or is it just a slow start?
No, I think they're concerned. Their power play covered up a lot of the blemishes early. They were number one in the league in the power play. That's kind of dried up a little bit for them. They're trying to find some defensive identity. I think, they obviously got some guys that are younger that they're trying to break into their lineup, and it takes a while to get used to the defensive side of it. I know they've done some messaging through their minor league system in terms of certain players trying to really evolve with a defensive presence at the forward position, which I think is smart by Minnesota to do that. So I think that's something to look for down the road and in the future. But I think more than anything else, they're trying to cultivate young guys and break them into a really tough league, which is not easy to do.
All right, next question. Franco, are you concerned with Carolina's lack of production from Ehlers, 3 points, Kotkaniemi, 3 points, and Svechnikov, 0 points so far?
Very, very much so. And again, we talked about last year was going to be a referendum on analytics, and obviously the team did not have the success they wanted to. This is a huge year for that group, all of them, all three of those players that you just talked about, especially Nicky Ehlers coming over from Winnipeg with a big dollar deal. Kotkaniemi was another big dollar deal when they took him out of Montreal, and Svechnikov signed a huge ticket, and he's a guy that we used as a comparable to Brady Tkachuk when we were doing Brady Tkachuk's contract when I was in Ottawa. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on those guys. They've got to be better offensively, but the coaching there is so good. Brendan Moore's such a good coach. It keeps them in most games, just the coaching decisions they make.
Yeah, for sure. And it is surprising. Like, I think when we were looking at that team coming in, Pierre, we were more worried about the defense and the goaltending as opposed to them being able to score. So they need those guys to get going. All right, next question. Renaissance Resistor. How are the Habs college prospects making out so far?
Solid. Sam Harris is solid. I know they got shut out at Northeastern Saturday night, but they won over Boston College on Friday night. Sam Harris, a good prospect there. Michael Hage has been off the charts good at Michigan. He's really been very, very good. So there's some guys that are good. I mean, you've got some younger guys that aren't playing a lot that are prospects. And Jimmy and I have talked about this. I'll say it again. You can say whatever you want about major junior versus college, but these major junior guys that have come down, they haven't dominated. They just haven't, Jimmy. And, they're guys that have come out of the BCHL that are draft picks that haven't dominated either. So it's going to be interesting. But the Canadians prospect pool is good and it's deep. And the college guys are just going to evolve probably at a slower rate than what the fans want, but probably on the proper evaluation level that they should be at.
All right, next question. Randy Workman. What's up, Randy? I can't stay. I'm at a family function, but my question is, where is Cardre going? Well, I don't know, Pierre. Like, name is starting to pick up steam
somewhere, but I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
I
yet.
tell you, there are two teams that I think you'd fit really well with.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd fit really well in Ottawa, and I think you'd fit really well in Montreal.
Me too. All right, next question. Puck battle. Smaller players like Jake Gensel and Logan Cooley generate lots of offense in close to the net. Is this ability something that amateur scouts can pick out?
They can, but one of the reasons why they're able to do that as smaller players now is because the rules have changed. You can't cross-check and basically destroy somebody before they get to the net. You can't hold with your free hand. There's just so many things that have made it easier to manufacture offense from those down low positions. We've never seen so much crease crashing and screening as we see right now because you can't move guys. It's almost impossible. So it's something that people are paying attention to. And yeah, small, shifty guys can definitely get inside, whereas in years past, they really had a hard time doing that.
All right, next question. Bill Van Vagel, how high is expansion on the NHL's agenda right now? Is there a serious movement for it? Is it just always a talking point?
No, serious movement, and it's substantial because it's $2 billion per team, and that's not shared as hockey-related revenue to the players. This is going to be their last chance to do this as a league, and they better be smart about the markets they go to, and they better be smart about the ownership groups they bring in, and they better be really sharp in terms of what they do with the expansion draft rules. Those are the three major components you have to pay attention to. But expansion is on the horizon. They're downplaying it a little bit, but I'm telling you, they're very, very aggressively going after expansion teams.
All right, next question. PH underscore 1046. Since Four Nations, Suzuki ranks second in the league in ice time for forwards. Are you concerned MSL might be overworking him and potentially burning him out?
Are we talking about Lang?
Pardon me?
Who is he talking about? I didn't hear
Oh,
you.
Nick Suzuki.
No, I don't think so. I think Nick's doing fine. Nick wants an opportunity to showcase his talent. I think Nick's on the right. I think Nick's playing great. I think his line's playing outstanding. He looks like he wants to take games over. No, guys like that are thoroughbreds. They want to run. Thoroughbreds want to run. They don't want to walk. They want to run.
All right, Pierre, how much time you got? You want one or two more?
Last question right now.
Okay, here we
I'm
go.
watching people about to get on the plane. I don't want to miss
me,
it.
Pierre. So you know what? You're off the hook, my friend. You can go. It's a question for me.
No. Well, wait. You answer your question. I'll wait for one more.
Okay, fair enough. See, that's why we love Pierre. All right, Marco Larabe asked me, Jimmy, is the Bruins fan base going to accept management trading away assets this year if they fall out of the race? Marco, 100%, based on what I've gathered, and I see every day on social media, 100% yes. The Bruins fan base will accept a retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. They're fine with that. It's management that's got to decide, or ownership rather, and then management to decide if they're going to do that. All right, one more question for Pierre. Seamoke, Pierre, what do you think the Hawks need to improve on the power play, especially the first unit? Change the breakout. I think maybe down low, some jam plays to open up the bumper or one-time shots.
I'd like to see entries be a little cleaner. Retrieval be better and better support off retrieval. But they're a work in progress. Their guys are coming along. I think long term they're going to be very good. Renzel's going to get stronger. At some point, Oliver Moore is going to get called up. He's a really special talent. He's playing at Rockford right now. Ryan Donato's off to a tremendous start. Connor Bedard's a lot better this year. There's a lot to like there. There's a lot to like. I think they're just a work in progress, Seamoke, more than anything else. And with that, Jimmy, I apologize. I got to get going.
I have to apologize, my friend. No worries. Safe travels, Pierre. We'll talk to you. Let me know when you're safe, and we will plan the rest of the week, my friend.
No, we're same time, same bad channel, same bad time every day the rest of this week. Thank you.
All right. Safe travel. Tell everyone hello over in Belfast as Pierre goes off to visit our great Belfast Giants friends. And, of course, as you know, I want to remind everybody we will be back there. We'll be in Dublin the first day and then off to Belfast the last week in November for the men's Friendship 4 tournament. And then again heading over there in late December into the new year for the first ever women's Friendship 4 tournament. Want to thank Sarah Stanton and everybody over at Cara Group Travel. And of course, all our friends over at the Belfast Giants for helping to facilitate that. I can keep going with a few more questions. Let's keep them going. If there's any more, Shane, what do we got? Is that it? I think we might be done. Oh, nope. There we go. Bill Van Vagel. Glad to see Wohl back after his personal situation for the Toronto Maple Leafs. How much does he play? Is a 60-40 split with Stolarz in the cards. I think they'll ease him back in, Bill. I think you'll see a little more leaning towards Stolarz than 60-40. And then as they go on, yeah, I think that's about right. I think that's a good call by you. It will be like 60-40 as long as he's healthy and performing to the way they know he can. I don't see why that doesn't happen. All right, next question. PH underscore at 1046. Why do you think the Blues are struggling early this season? Was their run last season a fluke, or will they turn things around soon? Well, you know what? I'm going to point to what my friend and teammate here, Pierre McGuire, has said a couple times already on this podcast. I think the whole way that the Jordan Kyrou trade rumors continually got leaked in the offseason and into this season, I think it created a lot of turmoil. I'm not there in the dressing room. This is just me looking from afar. This is just an opinion. I'm not reporting this, but I do think that that didn't help. But other than that, I can't figure it out. I don't think last year was a fluke. I think they'll get it turned around in St. Louis, but I'm with you. It has been surprising. I thought they'd be one of the strong teams out of the gate. All right, what's the next question? We got any more? Is that it, Shane? That's it, says producer Shane, who does an amazing job and will be producing the Bruins vibes for all you Bruins fans out there. The Bruins are in Ottawa tonight to play the Ottawa Senators, 7:30 p.m. face-off time. It's looking like it's going to be more like 7:40. And then 15 minutes after the final horn, you can find Brendan Sennett and myself. And also, we have a guest tonight will be joining us on the Bruins Vibes post-game show. Our good friend Alex Adams, who does the Ottawa Senators post-game for the Sick Podcast Network and also covers the Senators for Sportsnet. He will be joining us here, so don't forget to tune in live. Go in the question section. You can ask us all the questions you want. We'll be happy to answer them. Thanks to Shane for producing. Thanks to Pierre for taking the time as he awaited his flight over to Ireland. Thanks to all of you in the question section. Great questions always, and always to our listeners and viewers. We appreciate your support. I am Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.